After going #1 from jail with Sincerely Kentrell and being released on house arrest in Utah, YoungBoy would get back to doing what he does best: recording and releasing music prolifically. In fact, he would drop project after project like somebody trying to speedrun their record deal. While on house arrest, he would drop a joint mixtape with his blood-affiliated industry mentor Birdman titled From the Bio, which charted at number 19. That was followed by the January 2022 mixtape Colors, releasing amid his public back and forth with Lil Durk. That project had the songs No Switch and Bring the Hook, which we discussed earlier, where YoungBoy extensively disses King Von and Lil Durk. On the project, YoungBoy would go a step further, teaming up with Quando Rondo on the song Gangster, with YoungBoy kicking things off by declaring that the industry doesn't like him because he's thugging and dangerous, an acknowledgement of the blacklisting that he feels he's suffered since King Von's death. When Quando got on the mic, he would use the opportunity to send some more shots at Von and Durk, rapping that his ops have spent $300,000 trying to kill him, but they failed, and mocking King Von, rapping that Lil Tim is the biggest op and that he stepped on Von because he doesn't fight. The project commanded the attention of the whole rap community, who were following the beef with Durk. But despite strong sales, the project Colors would narrowly miss out on the top spot, going #2 on Billboard, losing out to Disney's Encanto soundtrack, but beating Gunna and The Weeknd. Apparently, YoungBoy was disappointed that Colors didn't go #1, and the following month he accused his record label of not supporting him and warning others not to sign to Atlantic. Clearly there was some tension brewing between YoungBoy and the label he signed to all the way back in 2017 after he beat his double attempted murder case. His ongoing beef with Lil Durk was attracting the wrong kind of attention, and it would seem that going forward into 2022, YoungBoy would quickly release a wave of projects, seemingly in a strategy to quickly free himself of the obligations of his original record deal. In March, he would drop another collaborative mixtape, this time with fellow body-beating rapper DaBaby, a mixtape with the tongue-in-cheek title Better Than You. This was a nod towards the internet trend for YoungBoy fans to comment YoungBoy better on any content posted by other artists. As the months went on, the tension between YoungBoy and Atlantic Records seemed to get more and more intense. Reportedly, Atlantic were trying to re-sign YoungBoy in a huge $25 million deal, which he duly turned down. According to DJ Academics, YoungBoy wanted to own his masters, and the label weren't having any of it.
There was a possibility he would have stayed at one point, but they weren't talking, because labels don't really believe in giving you ownership. They believe in only paying you to own you. Again, YoungBoy wanted to partner with Atlantic. He wanted to, hey, listen, we partner, but I own my work. Atlantic said, we'll give you more money, you'll never own your work. Not over here.
And all of this label politicking was clearly having a negative effect on YoungBoy's mental state. In May 2022, a DM leaks where YoungBoy seemingly says that he feels he's headed to jail or the grave soon. But in spite of his depression and collapsing relationship with his label, he would continue to drop music. In June 2022, the NBA Crew released their group album Green Flag Activity, which predictably was back-to-back with lyrics from YoungBoy's crew, boasting about how they're armed and ready to kill for him. In August, YoungBoy would announce his 4th studio album, The Last Slimito, along with an Instagram post that seemed to suggest that this would be his last project with Atlantic, as well as describing himself as a $60 million man, sparking intense speculation that he may have reached a deal to re-sign with Atlantic for an enormous sum. YoungBoy would also put out a cryptic statement suggesting that he never finished school, but he's finally finished his deal with Atlantic and calling this his last album. It was widely reported that this was indeed his last album with Atlantic, and that 30-track project would release on August 5th, 2022. The Last Slimito came with the aggressive track F the Industry, where YoungBoy appeared to call out Lil Durk for conspiring to turn the music industry against him, rapping that he's still going to die even with the industry on his side, even rapping that somebody is going to get killed if they don't kill him first. YoungBoy was clearly frustrated at the turmoil and how his rap beef with Von and Durk had affected his performance in the music industry, and no doubt YoungBoy would be upset by this album's performance. The Last Slimito landed on the charts at #2, narrowly missing the top spot to Bad Bunny. Still, an amazing debut, but it's likely that YoungBoy saw his ongoing failure to land another #1 record as part of the music industry's conspiracy against him. However, unfortunately, the choosing of sides in the music industry would be the least of YoungBoy's worries, because after releasing The Last Slimito, later in August, tragedy would strike. After King Von was shot dead during the fight with YoungBoy's artist Quando Rondo, it would appear that a bounty was placed on Quando's head by King Von's surviving friends and affiliates in the Chicago street gang the Black Disciples. The main person who wanted to see Quando harmed was Lil Durk. Quando Quando had already survived one assassination attempt at a gas station in Waycross, Georgia, with Lil Durk seemingly hinting towards being responsible. And Durk would seemingly continue to allude to his plans to have Quando killed in his music. On June 3rd, 2022, Lil Durk says that he's trying to nail him, i.e. kill Quando, on Keep Dissing 2 with Boston Richie, going on to liken himself to King Von, rapping, "Bro got bodies, he's a demon child, I'm brothers to a devil." Sadly, the next attempt on Quando's life would be fatal. On August 19th, 2022, just before 5:30 PM, while sitting in their SUV, Quando Rondo and his cousin Lil Pab would be the targets of an assassination attempt, as three masked gunmen would approach Quando Rondo's car whilst it was parked at a gas station near popular LA tourist destination the Beverly Center, where they opened fire. The police chief would later describe the shooters as having gotten out of a white car in dark clothing, opening fire and fleeing in what seemed to be a professional hit job.
They gassed up their vehicle, and as they were getting into their vehicle, a white car approached from the alley. Three men got out of that car. They were in all dark clothing. They approached, fired numerous shots, and then left in that white car going eastbound in the alley north of Beverly. It does appear that we don't see any kind of argument or anything go on beforehand, so clearly these men came here with a mission in mind.
KCAL News would give viewers a good look at the alley where these shots were fired from, and Fox 11 News Los Angeles broke down the entire series of events, explaining that the shooting took place at the gas station. This was followed by an attempt to flee by Quando's entourage, where they drove a short distance before pulling over to seek medical attention for Lil Pab, who was hit.
So once that SUV is hit by the gunfire, they take off, they hit the gas, and they drive a few blocks away into West Hollywood. They wind up stopping over at Santa Monica and San Vicente, right in the very heart of West Hollywood. You know, over there by the sheriff's station, also by the West Hollywood Park. They pull over there because the wounds to the man who was hit inside the Escalade too severe. He's bleeding. They pull over. 911 is called. Paramedics rush in. They take the injured man who's hit by gunfire to the ER. He does not make it, does not survive.
This essentially created two separate crime scenes, the scene of the shooting and the scene where Quando's car stopped, with a KTLA-5 helicopter putting surveillance on both of those scenes soon after the incident. According to KCAL, a pedestrian flagged down sheriff's deputies who begun to help Quando and the wounded Lil Pab in a tragic scene that was captured on camera.
And that's where sheriff deputies were then flagged down by a pedestrian during rush hour on a Friday, right around 5:30. They found the victim with a gunshot wound and inside of a black Cadillac Escalade. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. That is where we are told he died. His identity currently being withheld until family is notified.
Quando Rondo would be filmed by passers-by, breaking down at the scene and screaming in disbelief as his wounded friend Lil Pab is pulled from the car and given CPR, with this heartbreaking scene quickly going viral and being broadcast on most major news outlets.
Hey bro, do me a favor, somebody got shot, bro.
I'm pressed.
I get it, but can I get some space, please? Hold on. Talk to my partner, okay? I'm gonna help you out. Hey, I know. What was it? I don't know. Look, hey, what was it at? I know, Maker. I know. What was it at? Driver. We'll have to run the corner. We gotta make sure he's straight.
Unfortunately, Lil Pab would pass away in hospital as a result of his injuries, leaving Quando devastated, not just at the scene, but in later social media posts memorializing his close friend and cousin. Reporters would immediately attend the scene, reporting details and filming the scene whilst crime scene investigators continued to work. The news would later report that the police were looking for 3 shooters.
Right now, the search is on for 3 people who police say shot at a Savannah rapper, killing a member of his entourage. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in 1 car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
They're getting gas when all of a sudden the windows are blown out by gunfire. They're under attack by bullets flying all over the place. See all those white evidence markers on the ground? Each one of those is by a shell casing. Gives you an idea how many rounds are fired. Police say in that alleyway the white vehicle pulls up, 3 men get out, and they start firing at will, blasting away, targeting that black SUV, the rapper and his second person inside.
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Ronto's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died. A scene left with remnants of the fight, shoes left in the street, doors flung open. The suspects still on the run. We still don't know what spurred it all, but LAPD says it started at a gas pump.
It would be friends and associates of King Von who were celebrating the hardest following the killing of Lil Pab. Friends of Von would post pictures of him on Instagram following the shooting, with some going as far as saying, "Ain't no time frame on that get back," and posting pictures of Quando saying it should have been him. Lil Durk himself would go on to release numerous songs where he appeared to mock Quando for screaming "no" after his friend was murdered, with these lyrics painting a picture of Durk seemingly accepting personal responsibility for organizing this murder. Like on the track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, where Durk rapped that his shooters told him they have someone's location and that he gives them the green light and tells them to go, and later looks at the news to see someone screaming "no." As well as in the track War Bout It with former YoungBoy ally 21 Savage, where Durk once again did an impression of Quando screaming "no" after Pab died, rapping that since Von died, he wants Quando and YoungBoy to come outside and go to war about it. And he would rap that when he saw Quando screaming "no" on the news, he thought it was a woman who set him up, ultimately ending the hook dissing Quando, asking "where did Pab go?" and responding that the morgue has him. Even OTF affiliate Lil Varney, who had gone back and forth on Clubhouse with Quando and Pab, would take to social media to mock Quando for losing two friends and saying when it rains it pours, and that Quando should keep his chin up. Von and Durk's DJ Bands would also mock Quando, taking to Instagram saying that he was signing artists to Belt to Ass Records.
Belt to Records, you know what I'm saying? We signed, man. Anybody could get signed, man. That's all you gotta do is play crazy out here. You get your signed, man.
The O-Block member and friend of Von's, D Bands, would later be on live in O-Block along with other gang members claiming to be smoking Pab.
Tell her who we smoking. We smoking. What's dude name? Lil Pab at the loader.
King Von's friends would also take responsibility and use this as an opportunity to diss YoungBoy. And in the days that followed, O-Block members would be filmed on their block, dissing YoungBoy and his deceased friends, Dump and Lil Dave. Despite the disrespect, YoungBoy would clearly be hurt by this situation, and he would post to Instagram twice in the aftermath of Pab's death, seemingly indicating that Get Back was on the way, saying that what he truly wants is coming to him, but it might take time, and describing the situation as sad and wicked. Just over a week after the murder, on August 30th, 2022, Quando, Rondo and YoungBoy would release a collaboration track where they opened up about losing their friends, with Quando dedicating the song to Lil Pab and YoungBoy paying respects to his fallen manager Dump. Quando would rap that people were testing him and now a rapper got killed, and saying that it broke his heart seeing Lil Tim get shot and then see him charged with murder just for protecting him. Elsewhere on the song, YoungBoy raps about King Von sleeping with his ex, saying that he just couldn't cope with it, and saying that he and Quando have been blackballed in the music industry because of what Lil Tim did to Von. This would give fans an insight into the pain that Quando and YoungBoy had gone through, living with the consequences of King Von's death as a result of their beef. But this would only be the first part of a much larger collaboration between YoungBoy and Quando in defiance of their enemies. Way back in February 26th, Quando announced a joint project between him and YoungBoy, a tape called Who They Hate. This never materialized, but later in the year that joint project instead transformed into the joint album 3860, named after YoungBoy's native 38th Street in Baton Rouge and Quando Rondo's past in the Rollin' 60s Crips in Savannah, Georgia. Quando would tell Rolling Stone in an interview about the project that the album was all about him and YoungBoy paying tribute to their dead friends. On November 16th, 2022, the cover art and tracklist for 3860 debuts on Lil Tim's Instagram page, with that tracklist containing the bombshell announcement that Lil Tim is the only other rapper to be featured on the project. The 3860 mixtape released on the 25th of November 2022, and the whole album is essentially a big middle finger to Lil Durk and King Von's friends. Lil Tim featured on the opening track, I Swear, which in my opinion is an incredible song and shockingly underrated. The official audio of that has less than 1 million views at the time of writing, which is unbelievable to me, considering the fact that in many ways this song is the moment where Quando, YoungBoy and Lil Tim all stand together and address what's been happening in defiance of their enemies. The song features a great and heartfelt performance from all three artists. Quando's singing on the hook is on point, and when Lil Tim touches the mic, he surprisingly delivers a solid verse where he addresses everything about what he's gone through, opening with bold lyrics saying he has all these bodies on his conscience, rapping crazy, catch him walking out a party, hop out, walk him down, seemingly referencing Von's crazy story whilst describing killing him outside of that nightclub. Lil Tim acknowledges that there is a bounty on his head and ending his verse saying that he has plenty of bodies, but that he's beat plenty of cases and is undefeated in the streets. I'll be honest, Lil Tim actually rapped with a really good flow on this track. His earlier songs didn't show nearly as much potential, but this song actually showed that he has it in him to be a genuinely compelling rapper. And then, to take the track to the next level, YoungBoy jumps in for a hard verse, singing to God that people are always plotting to kill him, but that he's always shooting back. YoungBoy would rap that he has a lot of money and is known for killing people. He seemingly references King Von's death after fighting Quando in a disrespectful manner, saying they smoked on him and he wasn't even strong, as well as bars that seem to snipe at Lil Durk, saying they know we poppin', tell them all make pain songs, and ending the verse saying that for years people have tried to kill him but ended up getting killed themselves. This was a very bold opening song for this album, and from here, for the rest of the tape, Quando and YoungBoy would rap back to back, track after track, speaking openly and bravely about what their lives have been like since Von died. There's the track It's On, which references sliding for Von, saying, do it for who? I bet you don't, with do it for Von being a line that Lil Durk and OTF members would often post or reference in songs. Then on the track Casket Talk, Quando raps that he is continuing to diss the dead and say F the ops, despite people trying to kill him like Tupac. He would rap that he's heard rumors that they're coming to kill him, but saying that he isn't scared because he's a gangster with his own money and killers who could get you whacked first. In the verse, he thanks Tim for saving him from Von, and rapping that people don't like him because they don't fight, they shoot. On YoungBoy's verse, he raps about people wanting to beef about their dead friends, and saying that people now describe him as a rapper slayer who has anyone that disses him killed. Then there's the song Want Me Dead, where Quando disses King Von and his sister, saying his favourite op dead and his sister talks too much. This was a reference to King Von's sister Kayla B tweeting about the situation when Quando and YoungBoy were going back and forth with NLE Chopper. Quando also raps that Lil Timmy rolled her brother up and stepped on him. He would diss Lil Durk, referencing his song Aha, rapping, aha, I don't think it's funny, we stepped on your brother, and mocking Lil Durk for failing to kill him and Lil Tim for an entire year. He would reference the shooting in Waycross, Georgia, saying they shot 100 times and missed, and he would diss Von again, saying that they're smoking weed from O-Block and that Von was a stepper, but he got stepped on. Even ending the verse by dissing famous Chicago set 300 and pledging allegiance to YoungBoy's 4K Trey crew. While in YoungBoy's verse, he would rap in reference to Von, F that rap boy, and saying that his hit squad are now trying to kill another. There's the song No Mercy, where Quando raps that he hangs with the killer who killed Von and that the people looking for him aren't killers, as well as rapping that his Lil One murdered one in the New Atlanta and that's why he has $100,000 on his head. Quando disses Von again on the song Loaded, saying he's steady dissing his dead ass and rapping, get your hat back before you say you gon' do me, a reference to Lil Durk and his crew wearing V-Roy fitted caps out of respect for Von. Then there's the great song $1 Million Kid, an amazing piece of pain music where Quando sings about the struggles of being blessed with $1 million checks from the rap game, contrasting that with the $1 million bounty that's been put on his head by Chicago gang members. This is something he mentions again on Trophies, where Quando acknowledges the $1 million on his head, saying that if they catch him, they're collecting $1 million, and rapping all these bodies on his conscience got him feeling like Timmy, as well as saying he stained a rapper. Elsewhere on the project, there's the track At the Top, where Quando raps about bullets coming through the car door when Pablo was killed and being traumatized from the incident. Then finally, on the song Heat Tucked, Quando makes a bold statement, rapping, I bought the body from Lil Tim, it's both of ours, rest in P. 3860 was a bold and brazen statement, flipping the middle finger to King Von, Lil Durk, and whoever killed Lil Pap. Quando and YoungBoy wanted the whole world to know they were outside and not scared. The album was described by one critic as hard as nails with ruthless lyrics. But it would turn out that when it came to releasing this project, things behind the scenes were a little more complicated. Perhaps these lyrics were too ruthless, as YoungBoy would later claim that him and Quando mutually agreed that content on the album was too demonic and they wouldn't release it. According to a statement by YoungBoy, they begged the label not to release the tape, even going as far as to say that he spoke to religious missionaries who said that they will judge him for releasing this violent tape, and saying that the label is blocking his Stop the Violence message because they only care about making money. YoungBoy would go on to say that people are terrified of him and that he doesn't play. However, despite the lack of promotion and attempts not to release it, the project did come out and ended up landing at 62 on Billboard. Strangely, despite the earlier announcement that The Last Slimito was his final album with Atlantic, 3860 was released under Atlantic Records. It's unclear exactly why, but following The Last Slimito, YoungBoy dropped numerous projects which were technically classified as mixtapes and seemingly owned by Atlantic Records. There was the September tape Realer 2, which charted at number 6 on Billboard, and just 1 month after dropping Realer 2, YoungBoy releases yet another mixtape, 3800 Degrees, on October the 7th, 2022, which charted at number 12. And before that month ends, on October the 21st, 2022, he drops another project titled Ma I Got a Family, which charted at number 7. Then you get to November, that's when 3860 came out, and that went 62, even with the industry blacklisting. And then, to cap off YoungBoy's insane run, the final project with an Atlantic Records sticker finally arrives on December the 23rd, 2022. The Lost Files album, which is a release consisting mainly of a compilation of already leaked tracks, which still charted at number 45. Once the dust finally settled on YoungBoy's Atlantic deal, he was a free agent, and finally in a position to move on to his next move, later announcing a huge deal with Motown Records. Now, the details of this deal have not been made public, but DJ Academics would hint at having spoken to industry insiders who confirmed an 8-figure deal that was bigger than anything anyone in this generation of rappers could attract.
The deal has him getting paid handsomely up front. It's obviously an 8-figure deal. It's one of the biggest deals that anyone in his generation of rappers would be getting. So he's getting paid handsomely.
So YoungBoy had truly beaten the odds, getting out of his long-standing deal with Atlantic by dropping an ungodly amount of music in 2022. But it hadn't been easy. He was still seemingly having his career suppressed as a result of the negativity surrounding him after King Von was killed. And yet, while the industry was still on Lil Durk's side because he'd lost a friend to violence, Quando Rondo would still suffer back-to-back assassination attempts, losing Lil Pab and seemingly risking his life every time he went outside, and YoungBoy would ultimately be powerless to do anything about it, muzzled by the industry who felt he was too raw and too dangerous to be promoted like he used to be, and caged by the authorities who kept him cooped up on house arrest simply for being around firearms, even though numerous gangs wanted to see him dead. YoungBoy would ultimately find himself in an impossible position. Perhaps as a last resort, he would try a different approach, trying to shake free of his public image as the grave-digging murder man who seems to cause death and destruction in every city he goes to, instead trying to reposition himself as a gentle and traumatized casualty of the street warfare, and pledging to stop the violence and change his ways going forward. If you found that clip interesting, please hit the like and subscribe button, and if you want to watch the full-length version of this video, check out the documentary on my main channel, Trap Law Ross, and if you want the uncut version of that documentary with 30 minutes of footage I cannot show you on YouTube, then head on over to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can watch all of my best videos completely uncut for just $2. And if you want to keep in touch and get updates on the next documentaries that I'm going to be dropping, make sure you follow me on Instagram at TraplawRoss. Appreciate it. Peace.